This is the next video in the Historic Ordnance series. Once again, I'm going to pull a mine from the Bosnian Civil War, from the former Yugoslavia. The reason I am doing this is this mine has appeared around the world. It is being used by the military in Chile and South America. And I cannot find confirmation on this, but I don't doubt that some of them probably have found their way into Ukraine. What you are looking at is two different mines, but really they're the same. This is a TMA-3 and this is a TMA-4. They are essentially the same mine. The 4 is an upgraded version of the 3. Now, one way you can tell them apart is the carrying handles. The 3 has a strap carrying handle which is embedded inside the mine itself. The 4 has a hole drilled through it and a loop of rope is used as the carrying handle. But the way we always used to tell the difference on these in the 90s, because carrying handles can be removed, is look at the top edge of the mines. On the TMA-3, it's rounded. On the TMA-4, it's squared off. The TMA-3 and the TMA-4 are non-metallic anti-tank mines. The 3 has a fabric covered body, bulk explosive inside. The fabric is impregnated with resin. The TMA-4 is bulk explosive covered in plastic. Now the height on both mines is 4 1/3 inches. Diameter on the 3 is 10.5 inches, and on the 4 it's 11 inches, so just a little bit wider. Weight on the 3 is 15.5 pounds. On the 4, it is 13.25 pounds. Both of them use a TNT filler. Explosive content on the 3 is 14.25 pounds. And on the 4, it is 12 pounds. Both mines have 3 fuse wells on top for separate fuses. This is the fuse that is used in the 3. It is the TMA-3 fuse. As you can see, it has an exposed blasting cap, which is part of it coming out the bottom. For the 4, it's a TMA-4 fuse, which does not have blasting cap coming out the bottom. One of the improvements they made, taking this blasting cap, moving it up into the body of the fuse itself. Now on the 3, the fuse wells are made out of plastic, and around the fuse wells is the booster. On the 4, you have just a simple fuse well on top made out of plastic, and the booster is directly below it. Now reportedly, both of these fuses are very prone to being neutralized, at least for a little while, by moisture, because these fuses operate apparently by friction instead of percussion like we usually see with a mine fuse, where pressure plate comes down, striker hits a primer, primer sets off the booster charge. In these, apparently, around the shaft here from the pressure plate, there's a friction compound, and as it gets pushed inside, that friction compound causes a spark, a flame, which then ignites your main charge in the fuse to set off the booster, to set off the bulk charge inside the mine. Now the TMA-3 does have a secondary fuse well for anti-handling devices. It is located on the bottom, dead center. The TMA-4 does not have that secondary fuse well. However, there is a note in all the stuff that I looked at for the U.S. military for demining, and when I checked Russian sapper sources, they say that the 4 may not have a secondary fuse well, but very easily someone can cut or drill a hole in the side or the bottom and still attach an anti-handling device to the mine. The estimated shelf life for these in the ground after they've been emplaced is around 5 years because of the fuses. Operating temps, negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit to a max of 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and that is from the Serbian military. I was able to get some information from them. Now, how these mines look and get emplaced. This is a TMA-3, a 3, a 3, and that's a 4. Now in this picture you can see when they show up there is a plastic shipping plug in each of the fuse wells. Down here you see a cutaway, you see the bulk explosive here, the TNT, the booster around the fuse wells, and down here at the bottom you can see the location of the secondary fuse well for an anti-handling device, which is also surrounded by a booster charge. Over here you see what they can look like when they're placed in the ground. Now for installation for both mines. You first go through, inspect the mine and the fuses. If you're going to have an anti-handling device, you also go through and inspect the anti-handling device. Make sure there's no damage that will interfere with their use. Everything passes inspection. Move to the area where the mine's going to go into place. Prepare the area for emplacement. This could be moving some of the vegetation out of the way so that you can set it down on top of the ground inside the grass for a surface lay, or digging a hole in the ground for putting the mine in the ground. Dig the hole to the top of the mine or just a little bit below the plunger here on the fuses. Then prepare your mine. Unscrew the shipping plugs from the 3 fuse wells on top. You will then screw in the appropriate fuse for that mine. If you're putting in the 3, you're putting in UTMA-3 fuses. If you're using the 4, you're using UTMA-4 fuses. Once you got that prepped, you're going to put that inside the hole or where it's going to be emplaced, and then camouflage. I did not find any information as to if there is any type of safety ring or safety pin to prevent the activations of the fuses. If there is some type of safety collar or something like that, once you get it set into the hole or in the spot that you're going to place the mine, that would be when you would remove it at that time. Then you would go through, cover with dirt, and camouflage. I looked, could not find any information on that to confirm it. I forgot to mention, operating pressure for the UTMA-3 fuse is a minimum of 396 pounds required to set off the fuse. So maybe because of that high of weight on the fuse, maybe they don't put a collar on there. For the UTMA-4 fuse, the operating pressure is between 220 and 440 pounds. So I would think definitely for the 4 you would probably want to have some type of safety collar, but I could not find confirmation. Not by picture or by reference in any of the materials I was looking up on this. Now for removals of the mines. First, you're going to locate the area where the mine is at. You're going to scan around it using a mine detector and also visual means. You're going to check to make sure that there are no secondary anti-personnel mines placed around the mine to protect it, that you have a mine cluster. Very common tactic. If you find any anti-personnel mines put in to protect the TMA-3 or the TMA-4, neutralize those anti-personnel mines first. Then find the location where the anti-tank mine is located, uncover it. Do a quick check, make sure that there's no anti-handling devices. Now, if the soil allows for it, as part of this check, you will check the sides and you will check underneath. But there is a note, because of the fuses that are designed to be able to work with this mine for anti-handling devices, even a slight movement can set it off. So it says, do not disturb the mine in any way, moving it at all. So you would have to very, very carefully feel around the edges of the mine, make sure there's nothing coming in from the side, and then check underneath. And remember, fuse well is dead center underneath for an anti-handling device on a TMA-3. Now, if you cannot check around it easily and safely for anti-handling devices, the recommendation is, and this is from the former Yugoslavia and what I found on Russian sapper websites, you're going to have to pull the mine out of the ground. Attach a rope to it somehow or a grappling hook, pull it out of the hole and move it at least 5 meters away from the hole. Let it sit for at least 5 to 10 minutes in case it has a timed anti-handling device. They do exist. They were employed during the Bosnian Civil War. They were nasty little buggers, and it was not uncommon that those things were hidden inside the mines themselves. An indication that that type of anti-handling device was installed in the mine is there would be a cut in either the side or underneath. Someone used a knife, cut in there, and slipped that fuse up inside. It was kind of a mercury type switch. It would go over, activate, time countdown, and then detonate. That way it would stop an enemy soldier from stealing the mines to use against you. After the time has elapsed, approach the mine, unscrew the fuses, reinstall the shipping plugs. If there is some type of safety collar or safety pin, you would reinstall them on the fuses. But as I said before, no confirmation that there is a safety device like that for use on the fuses. Then turn the mines and the fuses in for later reuse. These can be used until essentially they're no longer safe to use anymore. They're starting to fall apart. They're starting to degrade. Now, something we were taught in the 90s about these mines, the TMA-3 and the TMA-4, something that is not in any of the demining literature nowadays or mentioned in any of the current manuals. These mines were actually designed to be cut up. That's one of the reasons why you have 3 separate fuses on them. You can cut these mines into 3 equal sections and you still have 1 fuse in each section. By doing that, it's not going to be strong enough to stop a tank. You might break the track on it. But if you have one of these mines divided into 3 separate anti-vehicular mines, you could put these into the drive path of a Jeep trail up in the mountains or in the woods. So a lighter vehicle like a Jeep or a supply truck driving along, will hit it. At a minimum, it's going to blow out the tire and the front end of the vehicle, damage it really bad, potentially flip the vehicle, killing or severely injuring anyone that's inside. I never found that mentioned in any of the current information passed to deminers, but that was mentioned in the 1990s for us to be aware of in case we were sent to the former Yugoslavia to do demining operations. So there you go. The basics for the Yugoslavian made. Now it would be Bosnian or Croatian or Serbian made TMA-3s or TMA-4 anti-tank mines. The information I was coming across, it says that currently the most produced and used of these two mines is the TMA-4, but the 3 is still out there. It is found across Africa, and as I said, the Chilean military has purchased a bunch of them from the former Yugoslavia, and they employ them also. These mines reportedly are blast resistant, so if an enemy force is trying to breach a minefield with these using a MICLIC, a mine clearing line charge, very few of these mines will go off because of the way the fuse works. That's a note that I found everywhere, that this one is one of the MICLIC resistant mines in the inventory around the world. But you got the info on it, on if you come across them. You know, you need to employ them as a resistant soldier, or you're removing them as a deminer, clearing a path through a minefield for your own troops, whatever it may be. Now, always remember, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot Militia movements, always remember essayons.